And hello, everyone. How are you doing? It's Dave Bondy. Good to see you on this edition of Keeping It Real on this Sunday night. Good to see all of you. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And you need to stay tuned because I'm going to run down what we have going on tonight. So President Biden says that the economy is strong for many people. And it is for many people or some people, but there's others who are struggling. We are going to be talking to a woman from Grand Rapids, Michigan tonight who tells us what she is seeing and how it's impacting her families and those around her. That story coming up in just a little bit. Also, we're taking a look at the protests that happened at the University of Michigan at their graduation from the pro-Palestinian protesters. We're talking to someone or taking a look at some video of what was there. And I'm giving you my thoughts on what I think and taking your opinions on this as well. We're also looking at a great story coming out of Massachusetts where someone called 911. They didn't need 911. It wasn't an emergency, but it was something really cool. So anyway, also everybody, if you're joining me, thank you very much for being here. I urge all of you to sign up to my Substack. I have it absolutely free. And these are stories that the mainstream media is not telling you all the time. This is my Substack on the screen right here. You see this? These are all these stories that I really do not put out on Facebook or Twitter or anything like that. I'm going to put a link in the comments right now where you can sign up absolutely free. You can become a paid supporter, but you don't have to. There it is, davebondy.substack.com. I put it in the comments. Click that link and you can sign up absolutely free to get my newsletter. I urge all of you to do it because you're going to get stories every morning emailed to you that you're not getting anywhere else. So it's been a very busy week. I appreciate all of you being here. Let's get to it. So President Biden says the economy is doing well. It's improving. There's lots of jobs available. And as he calls it, Bidenomics is out there. But are things really doing well? Are things getting better? I talked to a woman from Grand Rapids, Michigan, just a short time ago. I want you to hear what she has to say about how the economy is really doing. Hello, joined by Laura right now. I want to let everyone know she's a little under the weather, so she might cough a little bit, but she's taken the time to join us here. Really appreciate it. You're in Grand Rapids. Thank you so much. I hope you're going to feel better.
Thank you.
Okay.
Nice to be here.
So you sent me a video yesterday from a church. This was a food giveaway or a food drive they had.
Correct. It was a food giveaway at Church of the Servant. It was off of a street called Burton in Grand Rapids, Michigan, a city I grew up in. And I was shocked by the amount of cars.
Yeah, lots of cars there. And I know some people online were like, oh, those are nice cars. Those people don't need food. But we shouldn't judge people, right? Because we don't know what's going on we don't really, and I say this to everyone, we don't really know what's going on with people. We don't know what's going on in their life.
Yes, I was going to say, Dave, that I did get some comments similar to that. And one of the things I was going to say was that some of these people came using their relative's car. And because it was a drive-up food giveaway, they were getting food for their sick relatives or relatives that are living with them or other family members who are struggling.
Yeah, you never know. And if someone
has to judge.
No, and if someone has a car payment and they lost their job, they're still stuck maybe in a payment for. My dad told me a long time ago, you really can't judge because just because you can still be in a house and have a car and not being able to make ends meet. And that leads me to ask you, what are you seeing out there? Your friends or people in your life, are people struggling? Is the economy tough for some people or even you? Is it a little tough?
It absolutely has changed. I'm told that, and I think this is actually conservative, that food prices have gone up, I don't know, 40% or something. And my husband has to work 56 hours now often just so that we can save our money. And what a concept, saving our money as well. And people are living paycheck to paycheck, but we're good with our money. We pay our bills on time. Yeah. And how is it that both of us are working and he has to work overtime? And every time we go to the grocery, for example, which is a basic need to go to the grocery, prices are just skyrocketed. And I hear people talking in the grocery line, even they're like, I can't even afford meat anymore, and everyone is saying it. And so I know I'm not alone.
No, you're
And
you're not alone. And that's the thing. You still I know the president has said no tax increases or whatever, but inflation is a tax because you're paying more.
right,
Um
definitely.
real quick.
Inflation is a tax.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, it's a tax. You're paying more. I remember I was talking to you earlier today. I went to get fast food and I shouldn't have done it because it's not healthy, but it was like $30 for four of us. And I'm like, that's just ridiculous.
Correct. Yep. It's really, really, I'm very surprised if I see somebody go out to eat how they can afford it, because I can't. And I
No.
don't want to pay for that because I want to save my money.
Well,
And
that's
I can't do that anymore.
yeah, that's the thing I didn't realize. And while I'm talking, if you want to get a drink, you can. I realized that there's a lot of people that can pay the bills, but a lot of people, like when I was growing up, I'm one of six. My mom and dad, they always
Oh,
tried
wow.
saving money for a rainy day. But now, if people are paying the bills and making ends meet, they're not saving as much. And you sound like you're someone that likes saving, but you're probably not able to save as much as you were before.
We're not. And we are always thinking about the next week, the next amount of money that we're going to pay for food. And I mean, we enjoy life, but
Yeah.
it's really the basic, when you have trouble affording the basic needs, then other people are having trouble. And it makes sense now why I'm seeing so many more cars or so many more people in line. College students now go to all the food pantries, and of course they're struggling. I don't even know how people afford that.
Yeah,
um
the picture I have on the
so
screen,
yeah.
I just put it up here. This is the Tabernacle Church in Grand Rapids. This was on
Correct.
Friday. 25 cents for a piece of clothing. So you had a
Yep.
long line of people.
We did, Dave, and we were in line actually a half an hour before it opened. And it was really, really special because I just saw and got to meet some really special people there that wanted to. You had to bring your own bag, and they were there. And this church does it twice a year. They just collect all year for 6 months, as much clothing as they can for all ages, toys, everything, and then they open it to the public. And they let like probably 10 families in every 2 minutes or so.
Okay.
And it's just so organized. And there were so many people there. And that was just like half the amount of what was actually there that were
Is
already
it
inside.
is it true? And I didn't know this. I have, relatives and they like going to Goodwill or certain thrift stores. And you brought it to my attention. The prices at even thrift stores are going up.
They're going up. Yep.
I had
They're
no
going up.
idea.
Yep, they are. And for example, I go as well. I love going, but you have to be careful. You really do. And like if you want to get a nice cardigan sweater or something, it's $10 to $12 or $8. Now, if you think about it, that's like maybe a half hour worth of work. So you just have to be really, really careful how you budget your money, even at a thrift store. But yes, it's all getting raised up. And
It,
so, yeah, and
that
Goodwill is another one.
Yeah, that's a surprise because I think a lot of people think they wouldn't raise prices because they're trying to help people, but they're getting hit too. Apparently, that was a total shock to me. And then other people were saying online, yeah, their prices are going up.
Yep. Yep. And I'm glad I wasn't the only one saying that, because I kind of felt like, well, is this in my mind?
No,
But I have a couple favorites that I go to, and my husband often says, no more. Don't go there anymore, because it affects your budget. And
it,
So you're almost better off going to like a clearance rack at TJ Maxx or something. You know, it's like the same thing.
Yeah. What else are you seeing out there? And you're on the west side of the state in Grand Rapids. I'm over in Saginaw County, Michigan. Like
Okay.
is your electric bills, all that's still up there, right? I mean, you're still paying it's just tough. I mean,
Wait, I'm sorry. Can you repeat that question? I'm sorry.
yeah, I mean, for example, the Biden administration will go on camera and say we're doing better, the economy's better, but do you know a lot of people that are doing better?
I know no one that's doing better. I know, all I know is I know that the stress level has gotten worse. I know that the mental health um, arena has gotten worse. Um, it's really scary, actually, what I'm seeing. But again, I always look at the amount of people that are in line for these food pantries, and I'll be going to another one on Monday. And I love getting to know people and finding out their stories. And I can tell you for a fact that it is really sad. And you can enjoy cooking low budget meals, Dave. That's fun. But when you feel like you have to and you're forced to, that's really sad. Okay, because I enjoy cooking and I enjoy being hospitable to people. And I'm a Christian. I love, inviting people over for dinner. But when you have to kind of sacrifice those things and not be able to do that anymore because you're afraid it's going to hurt your budget, you just start to feel a little sad. And so I'm going to keep doing it because I feel called to. But you think to yourself, okay, so what does a single mother do, or single father that has 3 kids? He doesn't have time, or she doesn't have time to cook those low budget meals. I have someone that helps me, but my heart goes out to them.
So I think they call there's people, the working poor. You don't have to be
Yep.
homeless to be in a situation. There's people that are barely making a mortgage and barely making ends meet, and that's probably what you're dealing. A lot of people in those cars, if they lose if something happens to them, they could lose their home in a month or two. It could be gone.
I don't doubt that there are millions of people that are on the cusp of that, or that people are working 2 jobs, or that are working overtime and not having a quality of life that they used to. And I'm definitely not saying, I'm definitely saying that we need to be grateful for what we have.
Yeah.
It's really true. But I think if you are someone from another country and you come here and you think it's going to be easy to live here right now, you're sadly mistaken, because times have changed and it's very sad.
Yeah, and didn't you say that your husband is working more than 40 hours a week to help
He's working,
supplement to save and so forth?
correct. He's working about 56 hours a week. And
Wow.
he really feels called to do the job he does. And he works hard. He gets up at 5:30 in the morning and will come home sometimes at 9:30 or 10.
Wow.
And he's a med tech, but he needs to do it. I'm a
Yeah.
caregiver, but he needs to do it because he wants to make sure that we're ahead of the stress level. And I appreciate that. I respect that. And when I can get extra hours, I also do the same thing, because if there's any emergency, and I'm foreseeing that there could be, because I'm not, obviously the prices are not going to get lower. They're not going to all of a
No.
sudden say, hey, happy birthday. We're going to lower your prices forever. No, they're only going to get higher. So we're going to have to get ready for that.
Yeah, that's sad. What I don't know. I was going to say, what can turn this around? I mean, people are hoping that maybe a different candidate can turn it around, but there's a lot I don't know what. I guess we just have to hold on for the ride, because it's going to be a very, very interesting year. I don't know what's going to happen.
Well, you know, I, it's also, I think we need to find out, I think if people are struggling financially with food or any basic necessity, I really think that we all need to ask for help and not be afraid. I've learned going to a food pantry myself, having some extra guests living with me right now, some immigrants that are legal that we're helping. I've decided to go to help them out. I am learning that we all need each other and we need to brainstorm and just, and I applaud any church that is doing any food pantry because it is making a difference. And it is sometimes very hard to ask for help. Even though somebody may act like they're really tough and they don't need help, it is a blessing to get food and to do something with it. And it's so, I just think, I think if everyone just takes part in voting, yes, but also just accesses some of the resources, and hopefully somebody will take notice that times are hard and voting the right people. Yes.
So educate people. Talking, what we're doing right now is what needs to be done. Talking about it, getting the word out.
Getting the word out. And another thing is helping our neighbors, or I don't know. I am involved with local politics. I just like to help. I like to volunteer if I have time and just kind of find out what their needs are and what's going on in the state of Michigan, because there's some very loving people in Michigan that are struggling that nobody knows about.
Yeah.
And I think especially after COVID, we just lost the sense of community, and people aren't realizing that the ramifications of what happened, the shutdown, are still so painful.
They are. So you're saying check on your neighbors. If you don't know, if there's an elderly person living down the street and you never hear from them, we need to be like, I remember growing up, everyone in the neighborhood would talk to each other. My mom and dad would talk to the neighbors. They'd walk over there, but you don't see a lot of that now.
You don't. And I just had a niece that's living with me. I just had her bring over some muffins to my neighbor because I knew that, and we don't really know this neighbor well, but I just had her bring over some muffins because I knew that she was having her grandkids stay with her for a week. And I thought, if I can just do something, if we can just do something little to help each other out, it'll just make a difference. And I just think, if we could do more of that and just find out the needs of what's happening. But I think just getting involved too, like getting involved with your local political party and seeing how you can help, instead of being, it's a fact that things are hard. And I'm not going to stop saying it because it's changed a lot in the last three some years. And I've seen it everywhere I go. And I don't know about the supply chain thing, but it's really another issue I'm noticing is there's something weird about that. It seems like every store is running out of a lot of things, and that's a whole nother ball of wax.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing. Are you seeing that it's affecting people that it wasn't 4 years ago or 3 years ago? Are there new people that are hurting?
Yes, there are. And I'm noticing that when someone will go, one of the things I ask a lot is, where do you go grocery shopping? Yeah. And there are people that will go to like an Aldi's, and they'll go to Costco, and then they'll go to another grocery store in one day instead of going to just one, because they know that certain produce is cheaper in this place or that place. Okay. And I just think people just aren't eating the way that they used to either. I think they're just not, I don't think they're always eating as healthy, but they're not eating as much. They're more worried. There's more stress. Yeah,
the stress actually adds a bit. Well, I want to let you go. You're able to make it through the interview. I appreciate it. You're not feeling well, but you need to rest now.
Dave, thanks a lot.
Yeah, there you go, everyone. Just want to know what are you seeing in your community when it comes to the economy? Some of the comments that I want to see on the screen. I'm going to put this on the screen right here. By the way, thank you everyone for watching on Facebook, Twitter, Rumble, YouTube, and locals. Mary says, my fiance is working 2 jobs. I'm in SSD. My son as well. In some ways, we're doing okay. Low to middle income range. We're eating and paying our bills, but we're not saving. But we're definitely one major issue away from being screwed and on the street. That's according to Mary. What are all of you seeing when it comes to the economy in your neck of the woods? Let me know what you're seeing out there, and how it's impacting you. Like I said, with her, she's able to do things, but saving money is an issue. She's not able to save a lot of money. Helene, is it Helene? Helene is saying she's retired and still working for Hobby Lobby. I see that happening, and that's just, do you have to do that, Helene? Just wondering, how bad is it in the community for people? Hold on. And Christian on Facebook says, poor economy. Seniors cannot afford to eat healthy. Well, eating healthy is a whole other thing. It's very difficult to eat healthy, actually. Yeah, Helene said she actually has to. She does. Okay, keep your comments coming, everybody. If you're watching on Facebook, keep commenting, keep hitting the heart button. For those of you who don't know, on Facebook, they are trying to lower the reach of my videos because there's somewhat talk about politics at times. And Facebook said that they do not want to put political videos out there. Oh, Lady Ishii, Scott Stillwell. Yes, Scott. Andrea, watching on Locals. Thank you, everyone. I am streaming right now on Facebook, Twitter, X, Rumble, Locals. I have 200,000 people on my Facebook page, and only 12 people are watching right now. So if you're watching on Facebook, please share this video out there to let everyone know what's going on. Okay, for those of you, I have a surprise guest coming up in a little bit, and he's going to be joining us any minute. Franco Mattei. When I was in elementary school, I knew this kid, this guy. He's a guy. He's now like 48, 49 years old. But I knew him as a very, in elementary school, and I just ran into him, connected with him recently. We're going to bring him on the show. He also has a podcast. We're going to be talking to him in just a little bit. Okay, I want to ask all of you your opinion on something. Take a look at your screen. And okay, I'm muting the video, but this was yesterday at the University of Michigan graduation ceremony. I want to know what you think about this. Pro-Palestinian protesters disrupted the ceremony at the University of Michigan. And I want to know what you think about this. Lots of people are saying that this was not appropriate. And I don't think it was appropriate either. But some people may not like my take on certain things. But I think in this country, you have the right to protest and say whatever you want, as long as it is not illegal. But what's been happening with a lot of these protests is illegal. They've been doing lots of things that are wrong, but you do have a right to protest. There's nothing wrong with protesting, as long as it's, not illegal. I wrote a story the other day, or I wrote it on Twitter or X. I covered the Westboro Baptist Church back in the day, and I don't know if any of you know who they are. They're a group of vile, disgusting people. And I covered a story when I was in Evansville, Indiana, of the Westboro Baptist Church. And they're horrible people, but they still have a right to protest as long as they don't get violent. So someone just said on the screen, if they break the law, they need to be in jail. I agree with that. Absolutely. Okay, so I see that our special guest has arrived, and he also has a podcast. We're going to talk to him about that. We're also going to talk to him about what looks to be censorship on Facebook. Not necessarily censorship, because Facebook owns the platform. They can do what they want. But let me bring him in right here. Angry Tiger.
David, how are you, man? Good to see you after all these years. Wow.
You know what? Did you go to 8th grade all the way? Was it K through 8?
It was K through 8, but I dipped out in 4th grade. I left you guys there at St. Mary's in 4th grade, if you remember.
Damn. So for everyone watching, I recently just ran into, am I allowed to say your real name? I already did.
Absolutely. No, that's fine. Yeah.
Franco, the man, the myth, the legend. And I went to a school down in Wayne, Michigan, Catholic school, kindergarten through 8th grade. You left in 4th grade. You're still in the Detroit area, right?
I live in in the Belleville area, if you know where that's at.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I grew up in Wayne, the Wayne Westland area. Went to John Glenn High School. Where'd you go to high school? Where'd you end up in high school?
I ended up going to Plymouth-Salem, Canton, Plymouth-Salem, that complex with 5,000 kids. Needless to say, I didn't get a very good education there.
Yeah, damn. What was your graduating class? Like, people are shocked. I'm up here in Saginaw County. My wife, her graduating class was like 120 or something.
You know, David, I wouldn't know because I dropped out when I was 15. I got a job and I went and got my GED.
Really? And
Yeah,
how?
we're catching up, ladies and gentlemen, by the way.
Yeah, we're catching up here.
Sorry for the background. I'm using the iPhone. I have a studio here, and the computer took went kaput. I'm doing a radio show on Saturday nights too, and I went to fire up the old computer there, and she turns on, then she turns off, then she turns on, then she turns off.
It happens. I
It's
know
like a
about
bad
it.
date.
Well, you're probably what are you up to now? You looking good?
I'm looking all right. I do a lot of different things. I see my own way through life, extremely eclectic. I have a LED lighting, facility that I sell lights out of, and I do fireworks and I 1099 for auto body, prototype restoration, really the car thing I've been doing for about 32 years. So that's my mainstay.
Cool. Okay. We're going to have to meet up down when I head down there. So you have where did Angry Tiger come from?
So I opened my first fireworks store in Detroit, by the way. And what happened is I was dealing with the Chinese. I got away from the wholesale and started importing directly. And I was having dinner with these Chinese women, and they're like, what year were you born? And I told them, and they're like, oh, that is the year of the tiger. I'm like, okay. So I looked into that, and I'm a Christian by faith, so I'm Catholic. So I'm not into the voodoo stuff, but I looked at it, and a lot of the characteristics of the tiger and the Chinese zodiac, they fit me, right? So I was like, what am I going to name my fireworks store? And I said, you know what? Angry Tiger Fireworks. Because, I'd get angry every now and then. I got the hot Italian blood flowing through the veins.
Yeah.
But that's where it came from.
You have I saw your Rumble. Do you have a set times when you're on the air? Or you just whenever you feel like, or when do you?
No, I do. I have set times. I have a financial report that I do on Sundays at 8 p.m. to wrap up the week's financial news. And, I look at the markets, crypto, gold, silver, all that kind of stuff, Austrian economics based financial report. And then on Wednesdays at 8 p.m., I have the Tiger's Den. And we have an addiction episode once a month. We want to help people, but I cover a lot of different topics. I have a lot of guests that, Daniel McAdams from the Ron Paul Institute. I had Ron Paul on, Edward T. Griffith, the author of the Creature from Jekyll Island. I'm big into that kind of stuff big time. So I'm like Austrian economics libertarian.
Good. I'm gonna my wife loves she would say more probably libertarian, the Paul family, I guess. And after when we're off camera, I'll have to text and call and catch up because don't want to tell everyone all our personal business. We don't want that all out there.
No, absolutely not. No. I'm just giving you a rundown, where I'm coming from.
Yeah. Okay, so you're down in the Detroit area. Well, first of all, do you stream on Facebook or no?
Facebook kicks me off. YouTube, I'm on probation with. They ban me about every 2 weeks. So Facebook, I usually don't even try streaming with them. I'm on Rumble, I'm on Twitter, and Substack. That's it.
Same here. It's horrible. I'm watching right now the numbers. I decided I was only on Locals, which was a paid platform like Patreon, and then I do Substack, but I opened it up to everybody. And then right now I'm watching. I have 197,000 followers on Facebook, and 9 people are watching on Facebook.
Right.
Facebook admitted they're lowering political content. It just seems like it's ridiculous. It's what they're.
David,
crazy.
I have covered the algorithmic shadow banning of people like you and I for about 2 years now. It is insane, some of the things that are happening. I have another a colleague, and he has a podcast. Okay, and he was in my chat, and I watched this real time. He's in my YouTube chat. Okay. And I think the show was on religion. We were talking about different kind of religions, different kind of, Christianities and stuff like that. And what ended up happening was he had posted, and I remember this because we were in the Rockfin chat watching a show, and, we were chatting in there, and he posted a comment about some firearms, right?
Yeah.
Then this is amazing. If I wouldn't have seen it with my own eyes, I would have been like, what'd you do? Have one too many margaritas that night or something? But this was amazing. That comment about a Taurus 9mm popped up in the Facebook chat, Dave. And he didn't write that. So I'm like, Jay, did you do that? He's like, no. I'm like, okay, well, we've had problems with people. They can copy somebody's chat name, right?
Yeah.
And steal their identity. So I'm like, okay, Jay, well, I'm going to ban you. I'm going to ban that user. I banned the user. I banned him. He didn't put that in the chat. And that's happened to him twice now. But we're shadow banned. Even on Twitter. Don't let Musk fool you. We're shadow banned.
Oh, I don't think, and I'm trying to, and honestly, everyone who's watching me right now on Facebook, which aren't many, I'm trying to move everyone over to Substack or Locals or a platform that, because a lot of people say I'm crazy. Oh, they're not hiding. Yeah, they are. And I know the algorithm, they can't see everyone's posts, but come on, I have 200,000 people following. You're telling me that only 8 people are watching, or they're just, one lady just said in my comments, I'll put it on the screen. She just said she hasn't seen, oh, here it is. We haven't seen you in forever. I post a lot every day.
Yep. Yep. No, that happens to me too. And David, it's not, listen, I with my audience, I tread a fine line with conspiracy and, people getting out of hand with their thinking, and I fight back on that, I push back on that kind of thing. But that AI can scrape a large amount of data. And there's more than one. They're bots. They can scrape the data. They know who you are. You're already tagged. Once they earmark you, you're done. It's like being a bill that's being earmarked. It's over. They know who you are. As soon as you go live, they know that RSS feed and they bury you.
Damn. Back in the day when I was a kid, I knew I wanted to be, maybe 8, 9 years old. I wanted to be a journalist. I worked in TV for 25 years. I worked as a reporter, photographer. My first job was making like $18,000 a year, but I got out of it last year. I left. I was a news anchor in Flint, Michigan. I got out because in the last 5, 6 years, the media industry had, and you know this, had just changed immensely about narratives and it wasn't about holding the powerful accountable anymore. It was about much more than that. And I just wasn't happy with what was happening.
That's really interesting, David. I need to get you on my show to talk about that. So you're telling me, and we all suspected this, and it's not suspected. We have the facts, but we don't report on anything without the facts. But so they give you talking points, in other words.
Well, in a way, yeah. At the local level, for example, the station I worked at in Flint, Michigan, they ended up laying off so many people over time that they had like 2 reporters locally. So they would air all this national content, but people did not know our station, and most of them across the country pay for CNN content. CNN provides content for local stations at a cost, and that's run at the local level, but the stations don't reveal usually that it's CNN. So there's stuff like that. And with the station I was at, when I left, they had maybe 2 reporters. They couldn't honestly cover stories. So if Governor Whitmer sent out a news release, I saw it once at least or twice, they would just copy and paste that and put it into a web story. That's not news.
No, that's amazing. And you know what? That sounds like how the Federal Reserve and the banks work.
It's
very similar.
it's sad, and there's so much, but also and I need to watch what I say now because I'm streaming on Facebook, but during the pandemic, there were certain things I wanted to do stories on, and my station was good. They let me, but there were certain things that you just couldn't touch. And especially with the governor of Michigan, she was so selective in her news conferences. She handpicked who she talked to, and certain questions had to be looked at ahead of time. That's just not what I was used to. When I was younger, I would go after any politician and lawmaker, and things just really during COVID really changed. But the ratings have tanked for CNN, even Fox, local news, and more people like you, me, Joe Rogans of the world, but more independent. They're starting to gain steam. Do you think people are catching on, even maybe just your average person realizing?
I think they are. I think they are. And I'm going to watch what I say too. But, in 2020, I think things changed a lot. And then after 2020, people seen that a lot of things that they were told was not so. So the sources of information that were telling them those things, they don't trust them anymore. So then they go look back at a David Bondy or a Franco Mattei and say, hey, these guys were telling us the truth while everybody else was lying to us. So there's, Dave, the thing of it is legacy media, mainstream media, and that's what I call it. Even Fox News, they have their talking points. They have their They have their narrative, as you like to say, and I believe a lot of those narratives, if I dare say, I hope this isn't too conspiratorial for you. A lot of that stuff on a national level comes from the State Department, right? There, that's it's. I'm sorry to say that.
No, absolutely. At a federal or a state level, especially during COVID, the state of Michigan was in very much control of the message. And when local media veered away from it, they were either not punished, or we would get calls from the governor's office, or I remember that, or we would be denied interviews. It was control in a way. So, right, you are right.
Yeah. It's a scary time. How, you look great. And I want to tell the ladies and gentlemen in the audience now, David, I'm not giving our personal information out, but when we were kids, I would go over to David Bondy's house, and there was two things that we would usually play. He had a Commodore 64, so there was a little bit of video games going on because we were kids.
Good old days.
And then I remember, dude, that was a big deal when you got that. You were so excited. and then there was, we would play two different things. We would play A-Team, and David liked to be Murdoch.
Love the A-Team.
Yeah, and I like to be Hannibal. Remember, we even in school you were Murdoch. I was Hannibal. We had a Mr. T. We had all, and a face guy. We had all of it laid out at school. But we would do mock news reporting, and I remember that, dude. I remember how much fun. And when I found out he was doing reporting a few months ago, I'm like, that is absolutely amazing. I got to get a hold of this guy.
And I'm glad God works in amazing ways. But back then, reporting, I like reporting information, giving all the information to people, letting them decide. What you're seeing now is not what I don't want to say fell in love with, or what I wanted to. It's not, I interned at CNN in 1998, 97.
Wow.
And they were not the same as they are now. Back in the day, they actually did somewhat news. Now you don't know the difference between news, editorial, opinion. It's just totally changed. And I was so disheartened because, and people say, give the facts. Well, sometimes facts change. I don't know if you ever met my dad back in the day.
I remember your dad. Yep.
Passed away about 12 years ago from asbestosis. Because back in the day, he insulated pipes with asbestos.
So asbestosis, yeah. I'm sorry to hear that. You have my condolences.
He told me back in the day when he was really young doing it, they said it was fine. The facts were, it was healthy. There was no issue with it. So that's why some people say, give the facts. Facts can change. During the beginning of the pandemic, what was a fact turned out to not be so much. So
David, I pride myself in my research capability, and I dig really deep, and I've covered a lot of different stuff in most of that. Okay, so I could say this, that Facebook won't spank our hands for this. So you know what CBDC is, the central bank digital currency?
Yes.
I studied that in depth. Okay. I also, and this is just an example, but in 2020, I was doing a lot of studying too. The information and facts are there, and they're contrary usually to what's reported on, but they're buried. It took me, to do an hour report on how CBDs, what it is, how it's going to be implemented, and how it actually works technically. That's 3 days worth of research.
Yeah, it's there.
And it was buried. You got to read white papers. You got to read technical papers. You got to stop, because me and you aren't computer programmers, right? And look up words and see what they mean and all that. And then something that's totally convoluted, something that's being misrepresented by the mainstream media, you find it's something totally different, and you have those facts. And it's just so much time and effort to do it.
In the media, and I'll tell you, and I can dish the dirt now, I don't care. When I was in the station, I was always told the public, they cannot take more than 1:30 of a story. The time span is really short. You have to be very generic when explaining things to them. And the consultant, I remembered one day, just made fun of podcasts. And this was like 8 years ago. Why would people listen to an hour or 2 hour podcast? I'm like, well, most of them are unscripted, and now it's falling on their face. The consultants, the CNN, they're failing because they're not providing depth and context. And if you give people that, I think people will watch or listen.
I agree. So since you have gone out on your own and you've been doing podcasts, you found out that those people were wrong about, it's 1:30. That's all they want.
Yeah. And even my wife said, you do an hour interview. Do you really need to do an hour interview with someone? But if it's an issue that needs to be taken and dug into like that, I think people appreciate it. And if it doesn't deserve that, I'll do 10 or 15 minutes with somebody. But yeah, I'm just looking at some of the comments now, and I think people agree. And I don't know, and that's why I'd love to have you on again. And we need to talk sometime. I don't. Are you a? I'm a baseball fan. I go to Tiger games down in Detroit. I don't know. Are you a sports fan at all? Or,
You know, for some reason I steered away from the sports. I'm not sure why.
Yeah,
you know, I don't know.
My wife
but
goes
I'll go
just
to
like
a Tiger game. That's something you do at the hometown, right?
yeah. My wife likes going just to look at people and. Someone just wrote on the comments, the future is independent journalism. I got out just in time. Yeah, but it's very tough because, like I said, I'm trying to move everyone over to Substack, and let me know yours. I can recommend your Substack on mine as well. Like, I have 15,000 Substack subscribers, and monetizing it, I'm trying to do that. I was making good money in TV, but I am doing several things now to make up for that. But I never saw my family, and I worked 3 to midnight. Whenever there was a shooting or breaking news, I was out the door. So I kind of gave up good money for, I'm happier, but I'm doing a lot of things to make up for that income.
So when the Tigers Den, and on my radio show, I say this in my financial report. I close my show with this, David, and please take this to heart. When it comes to commodities, time is your most valuable commodity. That commodity, once you spend it, there's no way to earn it back. There's no way to gain that time back. So I think you're better off being able to spend that valuable time with your friends and your family and your loved ones. The money's important, but it's not. That's my problem. I'm not greedy. I don't care about money. But it's hard to get people to follow you when you're shadow banned. I don't know how many followers I have on all my platforms, but it's not a lot. And I've been doing this for a little while, but I'm trying to get a message out, and that's
well, I want to help. Maybe we can team up because I've been looking for someone. And you're kind of perfect. You knew me back in the day, so I want to help.
Be careful what you ask for.
No, that's good though. I don't know. I mean, I've been through. My mom and dad passed away. Is your mom? Is your mom? Okay, no, your mom. I remember.
10 years, 2013. I lost them both.
Amazing one. I remember your mom. She was awesome.
Yeah, I remember your mom too. I remember when they got mad at us when they let us go in the mall and we were like an hour late from where we were supposed to be meeting them.
And like you said, I talk about things openly, even with my family. I had a brother named Joey. He passed away in his sleep at my parents' house, and he had been clean from cocaine for years for drugs. But I guess when you do cocaine, his heart was enlarged, and he died in his sleep. And those are like the issues. I had a whole show on addiction and so forth because the media is they glance over shit like that. It's just not talked about.
We have a fentanyl epidemic going on in this country. And the problem is a lot of people are going out and getting drugs that aren't fentanyl, and there's fentanyl in them. David, I did go through my own drug abuse problems, and I've been clean for over 15 years, of course.
Wow.
My brother, I watched him go through a drug abuse problem, and I don't mind sharing this with the people. I share it on my show. And then my son, he was dead in my driveway, dead. And Narcan brought him back. And all three of us overcame our drug abuse problems, but it was an issue in my family, and it's something near and dear to my heart. We do once a month. We have an addiction program. We have an addiction counselor. She retired now, and then we have people who have been through the addiction or people, that can help out, a spiritual counselor, stuff like that. But
yeah, I think
we're getting killed. We're getting murdered here.
Yeah. And it's not being talked about. So that's why I like just being real. A lot of people like being fake. And I'm like, I'm not afraid to say I've had these issues, I remember as a kid, I'll say it now. I was 7 years old, 8 years old. My brother would go get drugs in Little Saigon and Inkster, and there'd be a drug dealer at our door with a shotgun at my dad. I remember, I've never said that publicly before, but that's real life. And I can imagine what's happening out there now.
Well, yeah, it's horrible. I couldn't imagine. I mean, I remember what it was like when I was what they call in the streets, right? And I'm a real honest person. There's really no filter, Dave. I watch what I say,
like that.
I mean, if it's in my brain, it's coming out of my mouth. I just will curtail it to the situation. But I couldn't imagine like being a cocaine addict or a ecstasy or any kind of even recreational drugs. Even the marijuana is showing up with fentanyl in it. And that's, what's going on, and like you said, Nobody's talking about this.
No, so that's my big thing is I've done a lot of shows on mental health, and these are the things I try to do. So, wow, I gotta work with you. Maybe go down and see you. Maybe we do go to a Tiger game just to chill and talk and hang out. But my wife would love to talk to you because she wants stories about when I was younger. Yeah, we got to, on a social setting, we'll get together. Anyone in the chat have any questions about me as a young guy? How are you 48, 49? You're about the same age?
I'm 49 now. Yep. I'll be 50 in November, end of November.
It seemed to have gone quick, kind of, but I don't know.
Maybe not. Kind of. Man, it flashed by. Boy, oh
yeah.
boy. Boy, oh boy.
Wow. Well, it's been great having you on. I'd also like to have you on maybe one show to talk about Bitcoin, that kind of thing. There's a lot I don't know, and the future. Maybe I can, because you said you've done your research. You know a lot about it.
A lot about, cryptocurrency, CBDC. I can explain to you how the banking system works, how the market works. I can help you. I am not a financial advisor, but there's things you can do if you know the market. You can watch the market, and you could prepare for a market collapse or economical collapse. There's a couple of indicators you want to look at. So there's a lot of different stuff that we could talk about, David. I think you could definitely have good conversations. I need to get you on my show too. We're gonna. You're articulated, you know your stuff, and you're a journalist, so we can get the inside scoop from you.
Lay it out.
You can find my work. I'm on Rumble, Angry Tigers Den. I'm on Substack, Angry Tigers Newsletter, and it's Angry Tigers Den on Twitter. So, I mean, you can find me on those places mainly. I'm on YouTube, but I don't know for how long, so I don't plug it too much.
Yeah, I've been having a bad time on YouTube lately, so I'm gonna recommend you on the Substack, and I'll text you this week, and we'll hook up and plan something out.
David, it was an honor, and it was a real pleasure to be on with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Go have you got your other show coming up soon?
Not without the computer. I can't. I got 3 screens, and you know how it is. It's no lights, and the mic isn't working, and I can't do it. I can't share a screen that way. So
gotcha.
It's canceled tonight. But thanks, David.
Thank you, sir. I'll be in touch.
All right.
Okay. Bye. So, what do you think about that, everybody? Oh, my microphone's falling here. Oh, that's not good. What the hell? Oh, my microphone's falling. Sorry, hold on. Oh, my microphone was falling. So that was Franco Mattei. I went to elementary school with him, and I just connected with him the other day, and he has his own podcast now. And life works in weird ways. Life works in weird ways. My best friend a couple of years ago, he passed away. He was 40, 44, 45, 43 when he died. And now I ran into Franco. What a weird world we live in, everybody. Just crazy. I want to end the evening with some good news as well. I want to play a video for you in Massachusetts. A man called 911 asking for a happy birthday wish. He called 911. Well, guess what happened? I'm going to show you in the video right here.
Al, how are you? What's your name?
Chris.
Chris? I'm Frank.
Good to meet you.
Israel. How old are you today? It's your birthday?
25.
Is it your birthday?
Yes, sir.
You're not just making that up. Let me see. We tried to light you candles, man, but the wind blew them out for you. But are you allergic to nuts?
Hell no.
All right, we got you.
Give me a lighter in my pocket.
We got a lighter. It's just windy. Can we come inside with you?
Yeah, come in the quarter.
Yeah, can we come in the quarter? We're not gonna wake your neighbors, are we? All right, man, Chris.
Oh my God.
Hey, we're happy that you're 25. That's a big number.
How old is?
Huh?
How old are you?
So what happened there? Really cool indeed. I like doing the positive stories, highlighting law enforcement, doing a great thing. This guy, obviously, he's a little slow. He has some issues. Boston police, he called 911 asking for a happy birthday wish. So instead of the police getting upset or giving him a fine, they delivered him a cake. And Had him blow out his
You
cake right
go.
there.
You got
How
it.
cool is that? How cool is that? Boston police showing the
Hey,
good
look,
things
we wish
that
you the best
police
birthday,
officers
okay?
do. And that's what you're taking a
All
look
right,
at
good.
there. Really, really cool indeed. I think we need to highlight more things like this, the positivity that police officers are doing. Yeah, really, really cool, everyone. Thank you. So in the chat, let me see here. Any what before we go, and for those of you who are watching on Facebook, X, Rumble, and YouTube, in about a minute we're going to be switching over to locals, and that is only going to be for paid subscribers. And you can help support my independent journalism by becoming a paid subscriber on my locals community. Locals is just like Facebook, but there's no censorship. And that's a big deal. No censorship and no algorithm. If you would like to join my locals community, you will get exclusive chats. You will get exclusive stories. That's where you need to be, because Facebook, YouTube, they're hiding the content. So in 1 minute, we are going to switch over and we are going to be live only on my locals community. We're going to be live only on my locals community. And we're going to talk about some wild stuff, because on locals, there's no algorithm. You can say kind of whatever you want on locals. No censorship. The only thing they ban is whatever is illegal. Okay? That's how it should be. That's how free speech should be. So I'm encouraging any of you right now, if you are watching on Facebook, if you're watching on YouTube or even X, click the link on the screen, and I should have a link on the screen. Hold on here. Let me put it on the screen. I think you see it there, or in the chat. You should be able to see it on the chat. Let me see. davebondy.locals.com/support. And by joining my independent journalism site, Locals, that's how you are going to support my mission of keeping it real and doing what I'm doing. I really appreciate it, everybody. So we're going to switch over now to Locals. I appreciate everyone for watching on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and Rumble. Right now, we're going to switch over to my Locals page. So if you want to continue watching, click that link on the screen right there, davebondy.locals.com/support. Click that, sign up, become a paid supporter. It's only $5 a month. You can quit it anytime. So, hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me right now on Locals. We are going to be going behind the paywall on Locals in just about 1 minute. 1 minute, we'll be going behind the paywall on Locals. And we do this because this is for all of you who are out